So tourism is coming back to Vietnam soon. What advice would you give to a tourist coming to Vietnam for the first time?
Bring in lots of cash.
Like physical cash or like have lots of money?
No, I feel like because let's just say like you're coming here after this whole situation that we just had for the past 2 years, and you probably overexcited about anything that you will be doing here anyway. So you probably want to do everything and eat everything and drink everything and buy everything. So just bring lots of cash.
I like it. What you're saying is
like
stimulate the economy.
yes.
Yeah, that is good advice, actually. If you're a tourist and you're coming to Vietnam, please stimulate the tourism economy. That is a great one.
Because
No.
honestly, like, there's so many new things popping up, and it's like even we living here every day, it's like it's hard to like catch up with everything new opening up, right?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's been like that since the day we arrived 6 years ago. Just something new all the time opening up. But that's what makes it exciting,
Exactly.
right? Now, one of the next question is, what advice would you give to a tourist coming to Vietnam for the first time?
Be very clear about what type of experience you want to have and how far you're willing to go. Like if it's like a healthy experience or an unhealthy experience, because Vietnam can bring you to the depth of everything or to the highest of all. So prepare a little bit of preparation and the right environment. Yeah.
Were you never inspired to go to like Bali or something like that, do the whole eat, pray, love thing? But I'm sure in Bali you could equally get drugs in 25 minutes as well if you want to.
Most likely. I've never thought about this. Vietnam was my only choice, to be very honest with you, because there was the ease of being able to speak at least. And there is. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to a tourist coming to Vietnam for the first time?
Be open-minded. Number one.
That is the most common answer, I think.
Open to any possibility. And number two, don't plan too much.
No.
Because you have to experience the beauty of Vietnam when you are spontaneous. Of course, certain things you have to look up before, but when you travel, just go with the flow.
What advice would you give to a tourist coming to Vietnam for the first time?
The best advice I give people is how much time to spend. You can fit in this and this and this, and this is only 60 kilometers from here to here, and but in some places the roads aren't great. A lot of places the traffic is chaotic, and I see a lot of people trying to cram a lot in a small amount of time. And I would think just to consider, so you can kind of breathe it in and not feel like you got to get up early, you miss out on your breakfast at the hotel because you got to get your bag out early because you got to get on the bus. And, it's like, go, go, go. You don't actually get to really enjoy it. I've said to them, oh, you were in Hue, did you go to such and such? Oh, there's a cute little coffee shop at such and such. Did you get to sit down and, just sit and look at the human race go past? And no, we didn't have time. We went to this, we went to that, So I think time, people to plan their time out and to be realistic about, the flights in between or, bus travel can take a long time. Some of the trips up the north take, 6 or 8 hours in a bus. Like, the train to Sapa from Hanoi is, it's an overnight train. So, just to manage time so that you can really enjoy it. Maybe you might have to come back a few times to see all the things you want to see.
What advice would you give to a tourist coming to Vietnam?
A serious answer or a funny answer?
You can give any.
Beautiful a country as it is. If you're a tourist coming here, don't drop your guard when you're walking along in the street. Keep your valuables either in the hotel in a safe or in your pocket. Don't be waving stuff around in the street, because the Vietnamese people are beautiful, beautiful people, but there's some dodgy people out there, and people need to keep that in mind. If you People seem to think that, oh, if you were robbed then you were stupid or you were doing something daft. Particularly during COVID now, there's a lot of really desperate people out there. And so it can happen to the best of us. It can happen to the widest of us. So yeah, look after your belongings, I would say. And that's maybe the one of the negative, or the not so much nasty, but the ones that people don't really want to talk about. But yeah, from a more kind of light side thing of just try stuff, maybe, which actually sounds like it's a complete opposite of what I was saying. But some of the best nights that I've had in Vietnam is walking past a lane and saying, oh, I wonder what's down there. And you go down and it's a massive courtyard with like beer, like bars and beautiful, beautiful places. But if you always kind of continually just, wander around and like explore more, I would say, if you're a tourist coming here, try to explore. Be wary, but try to explore. I know that.
No, it's good advice. Yeah. I think don't just wander down any dark alley, but maybe get on the internet and find out what's down that dark alley first. But in terms of the snatching, it is a problem here. I don't think it's hugely bad. It's no worse than anywhere else. It's a supremely safe place, Vietnam, and in terms of nearly all crimes. I don't, especially for a tourist, it's extremely safe. But it does happen, and it's like you said, it can happen to anyone. Our first time in Hanoi, we were at the night market, and someone bumped into Adri, and we were like, oh. And sure enough, our phone had gone. It happened that quickly. We were like, oh, they just bumped into us. But then I've also seen people in the street, have their phone out, waving it, taking pictures of traffic. And I've stopped on my bike and been like, put your phone away, because that's just asking to get it snatched, because people will take advantage of that. If you're waving your phone out, they're just going to grab it out of your hand. So neither way is right, but it can happen when you're not looking for it, or it can happen, well, not because you're looking for it. It can happen out of nowhere, or it can happen because you're waving your phone in the street. So you do need to be careful.
I think it's easy for a lot of guys to say it's not as bad, but I don't know many stories in the UK where people have been robbed, and I've lived 25, 30 years in the UK, whereas I know lots of stories of my time in Vietnam, lots. So I mean, there is a difference, and particularly if you're female as well, being more vulnerable. I certainly think that is an issue. Sometimes it's very easy for guys to say, I'm not speaking about you specifically, but I think there's a mentality of, oh no, it's really safe. And you're like, it might be more safe for guys. And we kind of sometimes fall into that mindset that it was okay for me, so it's okay for everyone else. And that's not always the case.
No, that's a good point, because there is a lot of problems that, and I've heard about them and know about it, that women have been either attacked or assaulted that we probably don't even get close to seeing. But I don't know the statistics, but we know that happens in our home countries as well, so it's kind of like, I don't know what the exact rates of crime are and things like that. But yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. Now, we got tourists coming back to Vietnam. Some of them are back already. I don't know if you've met any yet. I thought I saw 2 people today. I didn't recognize them. You feel like you recognize everyone in Vietnam because we've all been stuck here for 2 years. And I got my cum tam for lunch. And the reason I think there was a tourist is I've never seen anyone eat cum tam so awkwardly. This older white guy who's holding the plate with one hand and then like off the table and then kind of like eating it. It was just weird. I was looking at him and his wife and I was like, I'm pretty sure they're tourists. This is so exciting. But that's the weirdest way I've ever seen anyone eat cum tam. So I was like, he's no way he's a local expat. But so what advice would you give to any tourists coming back to Vietnam?
Not too much advice. Just live your life. So long when you survive a fucking pandemic, you just should live and enjoy every moment passing by. And I think Vietnam is a very enjoyable country. Very enjoyable.
It's so
meet people, talk to them. Don't forget to smile. Yeah, and don't forget to have every moment of your life worth it. That's it.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, after these 2 years, that is a great advice. What advice would you give to a tourist coming to Vietnam?
Two things. First of all, be open-minded. The country is full of different things that you might not expect, like the crazy traffic, the rainy season, it's raining all day and then flooding everywhere. People try to harass you to sell things. Some places, in some market, you have to bargain. But when you learn your way and you know there's a lot of beautiful thing, beautiful treat for you, I think you will love it. Just be open-minded and don't expect something similar like home. Just be open-minded. And the second thing, be kind. People don't speak English as well as in other countries, but Vietnamese people are very hospitable, very friendly, and they love foreigners. So use that, take advantage of that. Just be kind to them because they will be kind to you.
I've seen examples, not in a long time, but when I first came here, especially if you'll be hanging around the tourist areas, of people being unkind, and you're just like, bro, just chill out. Like, why you get so angry at this person? Like, they don't speak English, or they don't speak English well. Like, just relax. Like,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to a tourist coming to Vietnam?
The main thing is to be open. Be open to the food. There's more than banh mi. There's more than pho. All delicious, but you just have so many options, and just try it. And if you don't like it, then you've tried it and you can say you don't like it. So many foods that I tell Vietnamese people I don't like, but you've had it. I was like, yeah, but no, it doesn't work. So definitely try that. Definitely learn a few basics as far as like Vietnamese language. Nothing too crazy because it is hard to produce. And if you're just constantly making the wrong pronunciation, you're just not going to go anywhere. Hand signals are good, but hello, thank you, toilet. That's going to, and luckily you don't have to say anything other than toilet. They will point you in that direction.
Luckily, toilet is just toilet.
Yeah. And I think the last thing is be open to all the chaos that's going on. If you want to cross the street, just jump on a little old lady's back. She'll help you. You'll get over there safe enough. You might be very scared, but everybody gets where they need to go eventually. Oh, I find that a hand down as you walk actually does stop cars.
See, I do hand up to like make myself really visible and walk.
I don't know if they see that. That's because you're really tall and that's really high. It takes them out of very far from looking at the road. So I think you should use the hand down. Yeah.
The one that makes me laugh the most though is when you see someone on the back of a bike indicate, but the indicator's on. You're like, I see the indicator, but it is quite helpful.
I think it's helpful because the indicators lie.
Yeah.
Motorbike.
Well, the indicators don't lie. The person using them doesn't use them correctly is normally what happens. The amount of time...
Everybody's lying.
Yeah, everybody's lying.
Everybody's lying. So when the hand goes down, that means they're really going...
Yeah, that is true. There's the advice for tourists. Don't trust the indicators, trust the hands.
What advice would you give to a tourist coming to Vietnam for the first time?
I know, see, look, I've not even got a proper answer for this. I should do. Everyone's answered it so well. That's the other problem. Like, it's been answered so well. So I'm trying to think of something new, but it's the same.
How long you gave me these questions?
I know I gave you them. I know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't prepare properly for my own questions that I've asked 10 other people. Enjoy it mostly. Just be prepared for the chaos, right? Like we all know. It's difficult as well now, this question, because I've been here for so long. So I'm trying to transplant myself back to 6 years ago. And what was it like? And it was just amazing. It was so mind-blowing. It was so crazy. So just be prepared for all of that, but also be cautious, with your phone. Don't have your phone out. I didn't even have my phone out and I got robbed. So be careful for that. But don't worry about it, I guess, is the other thing. Because I remember when I first came here, I had so many horror stories. Like, don't drink the coffee because it's fake. Don't do this. Don't do that. Just, it's not that bad. Enjoy yourself. Don't go to Boy VN because it's shit. That's a big one.
You wouldn't even invite somebody to go there one time?
Yeah, you probably should go one time. When I went 6 years ago, and I sound like an old fucking, I sound like an old expat now. It was better. And when I went 6 years ago, people were telling me how it was better before. But have you been to Boy Vienne recently? Like now
I might go tonight.
I've only just driven like through it just to see what it's like. Now it's gotten even crazier. It used to be like loads of local, like Vietnamese plastic stool places, and it was a bit crazy, and there was a bit of a seedy side to it, but you could avoid that if you wanted. Now it's just all these nightclubs and typical Vietnamese fashion. It's who can be the loudest, who can be the biggest, who can be the most ostentatious, and so it's just gotten horrible. So go check out Boy Vienne, but once, maybe during the day. Don't go there late at night, but enjoy yourself, have a good time.
I think Boy Vienne is so loud. It's so loud you can't hear yourself think. Because if you think clearly for 5 seconds, you're gonna be like, I gotta get the fuck out of here right now. But I got a friend visiting from Japan, so again, I might have to.
We got friends visiting tonight that we met in Borneo in Indonesia.
Wow.
When we were traveling 6 years ago, right before we got to Vietnam.
Yeah.
And then they now live in Singapore, but we obviously haven't really seen them, but we've kept in touch. So they get to Vietnam tonight.
Wow.
So we're going to take them to D4, to Vinh Can, to Food Street. That's a good place for tourists. So yeah, there's a good one for tourists. Go to Vinh Can we call it Sushi Street, but I think we're the only people that call it Sushi Street. Or do you call it that as well?
No, I just that street food.
Street food. Yeah, they do snails. There's only one sushi place, and I think because we went there the first time we went there, we just called it Sushi Street for years, and it wasn't until someone was like, I don't know this, and we're like, oh, that street, and they're like, oh yeah, no one calls it Sushi Street, and we were like, oh, I think it's just us then that call it that.
There's one sushi. That's like calling Boy Vienne a coffee place.
I know.
A coffee street because they got
I
that one.
I know, it's so stupid.
What would you call Boy Vienne if you had to change the name? What street is it? You know what I mean?
Hell
Street.
Yeah.
By the way, Borneo sounds like a made-up place, just like Abu Dhabi.
What advice would you give to a tourist who is coming to Vietnam for the first time?
So I guess tourism had a sense of adventure about it, kind of to find your way around. And the last 10 years of technology, especially smartphones, I think a lot of people over-rely on apps or advice from the internet. And there's this horrible chain of information that's going around on the internet of things that people should do. And it's become a bit of a, I don't know, Mickey Mouse Disney World thing where people just eat the same information and consume the same information, give out the same information. So it's kind of lost its sense of adventure, I think. So I would recommend people to kind of get their research firsthand rather than looking at skip TripAdvisor, skip travel websites, and travel to a place and just ask people. Try to find someone who speaks the same language as you and ask them for their own personal recommendations rather than getting it from websites. Because it's more of an adventure, it's more personal, there's more interaction going on, engagement with people, engagement with the city that you're visiting or the place. TripAdvisor, you end up just like looking up an address, you can get a Grab, taxi there, you eat what everyone else is eating. So my recommendation is get personal recommendations from people that live in the places you're visiting.
Great advice. I like it. Yeah, because we went to Lishon Island last year, which is like off the beaten track, nice. And it's not touristy at all. We saw one other like Western tourist the whole time we were there, which obviously the borders were closed at the time, so that's not completely crazy, but it was kind of, a bit of a off the beaten track, bit of a mission to get there. Not a heap of information on the internet. You don't go to TripAdvisor like you say. So it meant a little bit more work, but it was completely worth it. So yeah, no, that's great advice.
Did you have any garlic wine?
I think we tasted it. Yeah, we brought back a lot of, because there's a black garlic, right? It's famous on the island, and we brought back a massive bag of black garlic. I love it. I was eating it like candies. It's so good. It's so tasty. I think I had a sip of the black wine, but we didn't buy it because it wasn't that good. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're like me, you may use your laptop at places where you have to use public Wi-Fi. This opens you up to digital snoopers. It's a massive problem. It can be your internet service provider, or you know who, looking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal trying to steal your bank passwords or credit card info, or even a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. These days, it is vital that you keep your data safe. NordVPN keeps all of these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites that are phishing for your data, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. And it's easy to use, even I could use it. I've actually been using NordVPN for years now here in Vietnam, and I'm excited to be an affiliate partner with them. I've used NordVPN to watch Netflix, BBC, Disney Plus with ease, and I also know that my information and data are safe from prying eyes, whoever they may be. Join now and you'll get 68% off and 3 months free when you go to my link, nordvpn.com/SMB. Just again, for those hard of hearing, nordvpn.com/SMB. The link is also in the show notes. I know nobody checks them out, but go check that out and you can get the link from wherever you are listening to this podcast. As an affiliate partner, it also means that I will get a small commission when you sign up, but at no extra cost to you. So not only will you be getting a great deal through 7 Million Bikes, you get a great VPN and you'll be supporting 7 Million Bikes podcast. Stay safe online and enjoy the shows you love. Any questions, just let me know. You know how to get in touch with me. And thanks for listening to this show. Cheers.